Have you ever wondered what would actually happen if you just stopped sleeping? Like, not stayed up late, stopped sleeping. Full commitment. 0 hours. Just you, your eyelids, and pure stubbornness. Because here's the thing, humans have tried this. On purpose. For science. And the results were so weird that scientists are still kind of confused about parts of it. So let's walk through it, day by day. Because trust me, it gets stranger than you'd expect. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Ever Wondered. And this is the place where we tell strange stories and explain complicated things in the simplest and hopefully funniest way possible. So grab a snack, because today's story is about something every single one of us does every night without thinking twice. And what happens when you decide to just stop doing it? Let's start with day 1. Sounds easy, right? You've probably pulled an all-nighter before. Exam, flight, terrible decision at a party. You feel tired, maybe a little foggy. You drink some coffee. You survive. Your body, meanwhile, is already noticing something's wrong. Your brain starts producing more adenosine, which is basically the chemical equivalent of your body whispering, "Hey, we should really lie down soon." You ignore it. Humans are great at ignoring things that are good for us. By the end of day 1, you're tired, a little irritable, maybe craving sugar. Nothing dramatic. This is the calm before the weirdness. Day 2 is where things start sliding. Your reaction time drops. Like, noticeably. Studies have shown that being awake for about 24 hours straight messes with your coordination and judgment about as much as being legally drunk. So if you've ever pulled an all-nighter and then tried to drive home, congratulations, you were basically operating a vehicle while functionally intoxicated. Nobody tells you that part. Your mood also starts doing strange things. Little annoyances become huge annoyances. Your friend chewing too loud suddenly feels like a personal attack. This is your brain's emotional regulation system starting to short circuit. Because guess what part of your brain relies heavily on sleep to function properly? Yeah, all of it. Now here's where things get funny, and also slightly concerning. By day 3, your brain starts doing something called microsleeps. These are tiny, involuntary naps that last just a few seconds. You don't even realize they're happening. You could be mid-sentence, mid-walk, even mid-conversation, and your brain just clocks out for 2 seconds and comes right back. People who've gone through serious sleep deprivation studies report literally losing chunks of time. Like watching a movie with random frames cut out, which honestly is one of the creepier things your own brain can do to you, without asking permission. By this point, your immune system is also taking hits. Sleep is when your body produces a lot of the proteins that fight off infection. Skip enough of it, and you basically become a walking, please catch a cold sign. Day 4 is where the real chaos begins. This is when people start hallucinating. Not full-blown movie hallucinations necessarily, although in extreme cases, yes, that too. But smaller distortions. Objects might seem to shift shape. Shadows might seem to move. Some people report seeing things out of the corner of their eye that simply aren't there. There's a famous case from 1959. A radio DJ named Peter Tripp, who stayed awake for 201 hours straight as a publicity stunt. By day 3 or 4, he was reportedly seeing cobwebs that didn't exist and convinced at one point that his suit was crawling with bugs, which sounds like a horror movie. And honestly, it kind of was, just one his own brain was directing for free. Your brain at this stage is essentially trying to dream while you're still technically awake. Because here's a wild fact. Your body needs REM sleep so badly that if you deprive it long enough, it'll start leaking dreamlike activity directly into your waking thoughts. Scientists call this a kind of waking dream state, which sounds poetic until you remember it means your brain is glitching. By day 5, most people are dealing with serious paranoia, extreme irritability, and trouble forming coherent sentences. Some research subjects in sleep deprivation studies couldn't complete basic tasks like simple math or remembering a short string of words for more than a few seconds. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for decision-making and impulse control, is basically running on fumes at this point. This is why severely sleep-deprived people make terrible decisions and don't even realize how terrible those decisions are. The part of your brain that's supposed to catch that mistake is the same part that's failing. Now you might be wondering, has anyone ever gone further than 5 days? Yes, and this is where the story gets its most famous case. In 1964, a 17-year-old named Randy Gardner decided, for a school science fair project, to see how long he could stay awake. With some friends keeping him company and a researcher eventually monitoring him, he stayed up for about 11 days, 264 hours, which is, let's be honest, an incredibly high-stakes science fair project. Most kids made a volcano. This kid nearly broke his own brain. By the later days, Randy was struggling to focus his eyes, forgetting what he was doing mid-task, and experiencing mood swings that ranged from completely flat to randomly irritable. At one point, he reportedly thought he was a famous football player, having a hallucinated argument about it. He also had trouble with basic memory and speech. But here's the surprisingly hopeful twist. After he finally slept, he recovered, mostly. He slept around 14 hours that first night, and within a few days he was reportedly back to functioning fairly normally. Which raises the obvious question, could you actually die from not sleeping? This is where the story takes a darker turn. There's an extremely rare genetic condition called fatal familial insomnia, where a person's brain gradually loses the ability to sleep at all due to a misfolded protein damaging a part of the brain involved in regulating sleep. Over months, the person experiences worsening insomnia, hallucinations, rapid weight loss, and eventually dementia-like symptoms, and the condition is fatal. It's incredibly rare and totally different from someone simply choosing not to sleep. But it does tell scientists something important. Sleep isn't optional. It isn't a lifestyle preference like skipping breakfast. It's a biological necessity as fundamental as eating or breathing. In animal studies, researchers have found that prolonged, total sleep deprivation can be lethal. The animals' bodies essentially shut down systems, one by one, without the nightly maintenance sleep provides. So why does sleep matter this much? Turns out, while you're unconscious and drooling on your pillow, your brain is incredibly busy. It's clearing out waste proteins that build up during the day, including ones linked to conditions like Alzheimer's. It's consolidating memories, essentially filing your day's experiences into long-term storage. It's repairing tissues, regulating hormones, and recalibrating your entire nervous system. Basically, sleep is your brain's nightly maintenance crew. And if you keep telling the maintenance crew not tonight, we're busy, eventually the whole building starts falling apart. So back to the original question, what happens if you stop sleeping? Day by day, your coordination fails, your emotions spiral, your immune system weakens, your brain starts hallucinating, and your decision-making collapses. And if it goes on long enough, in the rarest and most extreme cases, it can become fatal. All because of something your body does every single night for free, without you even noticing. So the next time you're tempted to pull an all-nighter just to finish one more episode, just remember, somewhere out there, a 17-year-old once broke a world record by simply refusing to close his eyes, and even he eventually had to admit defeat. And honestly, that's a pretty good reminder that your brain knows exactly what it's doing. Maybe just let it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Leave a comment and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, okay? Love you guys. See you in the next story.